Today we're going to modify our modified Rev 1 NOTADÜMBLÜ and add the A Box Later mod. This is the NOTADÜMBLÜ Rev 1 and I modified it so we could do gain stacking. So originally it's a clean channel and a dirty channel, an overdrive channel. So what I did was add a switch, so in one switch position you can maintain it as a clean or a dirty, and then in the second switch position you can put the clean channel into the overdrive to drive the overdrive a little harder. So what we're going to do now is take a close look at this circuit here, which is the clean section, which is essentially a FET Boost. We're going to analyze it, and then we're going to determine how we can change that into a Dumble A Box Later. This is going to be our starting point for the mod today, and this is a Barkus Berry, what's called a matching preamplifier, and it's a boost circuit. But the interesting thing is that here is an impedance adjuster. So this pot, this resistor, and this cap here form an impedance network, and you adjust it to get the best signal coming in your input depending on what the impedance of the input is. And I believe Dumble took this circuit, modified it a bit, and it became the BBC-1 circuit, and that was put in a box and that was available, and that is what the NOTADÜMBLÜ clean channel is based on. The difference between this circuit and a box later circuit is the box later is really designed as an effects loop box, and so let's go and look at an effects loop. And so what you have in an effects loop is essentially you have a network that reduces the voltage, then you have a buffer, and then that goes out to the send, and then you have return, and then an amplification stage or a boost stage that takes you back up to the voltage that's expected at the power amplifier stage. And so Dumble made this into a pedal, and I believe the pedal, and there's a really good webpage about it, a box later by Tone Geek, and so this guy was really helpful. He breaks the circuit down. It's actually based on a 072 op amp, I believe, in the original circuit. So this is the original, and so this is the power supply, so it plugs into 110, and then it has a minus circuit and a plus circuit. So the headroom on this is quite high, and it's going to be higher than the headroom on the NOTADÜMBLÜ with the 9-volt supply. But that's something else that we can do, is change it to a higher voltage supply as well for more headroom. And then this is the circuit here, and underneath that cap is a TL072, I believe. But we're not going to use the op amp. Well, we are going to use an op amp, because what we're going to do is we're going to insert, after the impedance matcher, a buffer. Then we can have our send and return, and then we will use the existing circuit, the BBC-1 circuit, as our boost circuit to get it back to high voltage. And the benefit of this circuit, and why people like the a box later concept, is A, you can insert it anywhere in your effects chain, and you come in and you get an impedance match, and then you can put some pedals in here, and then with this thing, this circuit here, you can turn the volume down, or the return signal amplitude down, goes into the boost, which again is an impedance converter, so it gets it to a decent impedance, and then put it out. To recap, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to have the input coming in. It's going to go to our impedance adjusting network, Z, and we have a pot on there that helps us modify the input impedance. We're then going to cut the tracks and insert a buffer. That's probably going to be a TL072, and then that is going to go to the send, and then we'll have a return, and then this will hook straight into our op amp, not our op amp, our transistor booster circuit, or what was called the clean channel. Goes through a cap, and it's quite a large cap, I think it's 5 microfarads, and then goes to the pot, the output pot, and then goes to the output connector, and some more resistors and caps around there. But I've traced out the circuit, and I can verify it is the BBC-1 circuit. So This is what's called the input pot, and so that's going to be the impedance, and then this is the output pot, which is going to adjust the amplitude coming out of the circuit. And then this will be a TRS connector, and when it's not in use it'll be shorted. I think that's fine because essentially a TL072 is just a bunch of FETs. So I think the impedance of this guy here, reflecting back to here, will be the same as the impedance here. So this should have a marginal effect on the circuit. However, there is some caps here. So there's maybe some reactance, and they're 0.1s. So we might get some changes in frequency response. However, we get the chance to adjust our impedance, we get our chance to adjust our output. We can put another pedal in here that maybe not be suited in the effects loop, or we can have it just going straight through as a cool boost with a variable input impedance. So I think this is going to be a cool mod, and I think John Mayer will agree as well, because he uses this on his pedal board, and that's how it got famous. And I think that's why Josh Scott, I think on the board, puts a shout out for John Mayer for helping him understand. I've gone through the circuit now, and I can verify that it is a BBC-1 circuit, almost identical, except the pot in the drawing that I showed you earlier was a 3.5 meg, and what he's done here is made the pot 1.5 megs and then has a resistor going to ground that's 1.5 megs. So he's closed up the window of impedance, and that input never gets shorted down to ground. So good idea. And then the caps are about the same, slightly bigger on this board than the drawing I showed you earlier, but again, it's irrelevant for what we're doing. And so what we need to do is, I found it easily, but I don't know if he's done this already, but there's a via that goes up to the top board here, and if we cut that track going across there, you can see I've scraped off the coating so you can see the bare copper, but if we cut that track, then we disconnect the input circuit, the input impedance circuit, from the amplifier itself, and then we can put the buffer, solder the buffer, if my soldering's good enough, onto this cap here, and then put the other wire on the gate of the FET. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. We'll see how it goes. Just for reference, this is the buffer circuit here. I have a bag of these. I had them made, and essentially it's a TL072. You can put a switch on it so you can switch it on and off. I made a video, and that link will appear at the top now. I put it in an LPB1, and then these are the inputs and outputs of the buffer circuit. So fairly straightforward buffer circuit, or surface mount. And then just for reference, and this could be a different mod, but this is a circuit that I have another bag full, and this is my voltage boost circuit. It's based on the Klon schematic. It's got a lot of filtering though, and it's got some reverse polarity protection as well, and basically you can get -8, +16 and 9 volts off this circuit board. So potentially another mod to this circuit is to increase the headroom and get it closer to the original pedal. I've soldered the white wire on to a resistor. Actually, it was easier to solder on, but it's part of the same network. And then if I just get my scope probe, touch it on the end of the white wire, that's funny that I'm actually loading the circuit with the probe. Interesting, but not really that important because we're going to cut the track. I've inserted the buffer, and I've got this white crock is send, and then on the other side is the return. By putting the buffer in front of the FET, we have changed the characteristics of the circuit. So if you remember previously, before we inserted the buffer between the impedance stage, the adjustable impedance stage, and the FET amplifier, we had a clip, and now we've just got a clean sine wave. So we've changed the characteristics of the circuit, which is fine by me. It's a terrific clean boost. Why don't we just try it out on the guitar, see what it sounds like. I've got the pedal engaged. That's a clean sound, single coil. Bridge. Pedal on. Beautifully harmonically rich. sounds pretty good. I think I've got everything set about halfway, so the impedance is halfway and the volume is halfway. So now it's a different pedal, different characteristics, but I'm pretty pleased with it. So the next thing is to button this thing up and try it with something inserted in the loop. I've wired up a jack, tip is send. I've got the MXR micro amp in the loop. Pedal's not on right now. So let me engage the NOTADÜMBLÜ. So that is the clean channel. Output up full. And the input, the impedance setting is also up full. So if I reduce this backwards, or take it out all the way back to 0, so you can see it's a little more tinnier now. Then as I wound it up, you could feel the warmth coming. So let's engage the micro amp, turn it down to 0. Sounds pretty good. Well, I'm just stacking gain right now with an impedance modifier. I'm on a bridge single coil. Let me click it into a humbucker. Add a bit more gain. Good. Sounds well. I'm overdriving that FET in which is the main part of the clean channel. Sounds good. I don't know what it's supposed to sound like, but it sounds good here. So I'm going to button this thing up, get it all into a reasonable shape, and then let's do a more comprehensive tone test. Not forgetting that we also have the tone stacking switch still in place, and we can see how that works with this combination. We've got everything buttoned up nice and neat now. The switch is in the center. Now it used to be on the side, and then the jack is on the side where the switch used to be. So on the scope you can see the sine wave from the signal generator, which is here. So if we engage the pedal now and we're on boost or clean channel, you see an increasing gain. That is everything up full. So this filter is it's on the warmer sound, and then as you go down, this is 1 kilohertz sine wave. So as you go down, you can see that we have attenuation of the lower frequencies as the cutoff is before 1 kilohertz. So put that up there a little bit. The volume there, so it's not completely overdriving. Looks good. And then let's engage the micro amp. So turn the gain up. Get a lot more gain there. We push it into clipping, which may or may not sound interesting. Actually, I've got a clipper on here, I think. So if I take that clipper off, or is it this way? I don't know. But the waveform actually looks weird there, so I have to figure out what's causing that. And then this is the switch that stacks the gains. So if I put this on now, the second LED will come on at the same time, and you can see now we've got the distortion. You can see it's a shark fin type of signal, and we're just basically stacking 3 gains with an impedance control. So everything seems to be working fine. I'm going to plug the guitar in now and see what we get. Clean sound. Turn up the warmth by adjusting the impedance. Now I'll put the clean channel in front of the dirty channel. Sounds good. Take that off. Put the micro amp on. Increase the gain. Remove some bass by adjusting the impedance. Add some more gain here. Sounds terrific. Now let's warm this up again by adjusting the impedance. Turn this down a little bit and gain stack everything. So this will be the first. It goes impedance, first gain stage, second gain stage, third gain stage, and the third gain stage is a clipper. So let's engage that. A bit flubby. Can switch to a humbucker. Now that sounds fantastic. Bit cleaner at this. Fantastic, what a great build. So this is the NOTAKLON. Now with the new mod, the next generation mod, so I've got a first generation NOTAKLON, and it has now got the Dumble. Well, not the Dumble, obviously. I've never even heard of Dumble. I saw one in a shop once for $130,000. So that's the end of the Boxylator mod on the Rev 1 NOTAKLON. Just sounds fantastic. Please like and subscribe.